printing these black camo hoodies, so let's get going. Now camo can get tricky to print, especially when you're printing white ink, because the black camo and the camo pattern will seep through the ink and come up on top and start showing through the ink, and it's just gonna be an ugly, messy look that you don't want. Now, in other words, this camo pattern is printed through a special dye process that they use to print this camo pattern. But the biggest issue when screen printing on camo items like this is this camo pattern will start to show up on top of your ink. Now, that's not a good sign, and you don't want to sell the product like that because it's just not good looking. So how do you screen print on camo hoodies? Well, you can't just use any ordinary plastisol ink because a lot of them will have that pattern come on top, especially through the curing process. So you want to use a low cure ink or something special that blocks out the dye migration and everything that happens when you go to screen print this hoodie. In this case, I went with the Epic Top Score ink from Wolfex. Now, this ink is not easy to work with. It's very thick and it's just so hard to work with, but it's like a workout when you print with this, but it's worth it because you don't want that dye migration to happen with just regular ink, and this surely does stop it. Now, the one tricky part about screen printing on camo hoodies is you're gonna screen print whatever ink you use, you're gonna screen print it, and off the first go, you're gonna look at it and it looks good. You're gonna send it through the flash dryer or cure it however you wanna cure it, and then it's gonna look good. You don't see the camo pattern, and boom, you're like, all right, let me begin production. Well, the catch on that is dye migration happens after, the best time that it does happen is after a day, after a couple days. So wait until the next day to see if any dye migration does occur. In this case, I did my testing. This hoodie was printed like last week just to make sure everything is good. And as you can see, there's no dye migration that occurs. It's all white ink, and the camo pattern is not showing up on top of the white ink. Now in this case, there's clearly no dye migration happening because this was printed last week, and the stretch test, everything looks good and everything is fine, especially with the back prints, the sleeve prints. There's zero dye migration happening. Now I'm sure if I was to use a regular plastisol ink, it would happen, but in this case I use a Top Score white ink, something poly, something to block the dye migration, and it worked perfectly. You can use any plastisol ink if you add a dye migration blocker underneath it, but I didn't want to do that. I mean, this ink works perfectly fine, and this I could use on just one screen instead of applying a blocker with one screen and then screen printing on top of that with another screen. That's just two screens. That's just double the work when this is one screen, and it does perfectly fine. Now, if you've been watching my videos, you know I'm gonna do my test print and make sure everything is good, because I do not want to screen print all of these hoodies and then a day later, 2 days later, it dye migrates and the camo pattern shows up, and then I gotta order these hoodies, reprint it, order new ink, blah blah blah. That's just a lot of money, especially camo items. They cost a premium to get because of the dye process, so I don't want to redo this. But as you can see, everything looks good. The white is opaque, there's no camo showing through the white, so you know what that means. Let's begin production. And we're finally done with the front print, but that ink gassed me out. That ink is thick and it's hard to work with. Like, you really gotta, if you look at the time lapse, I was really like pushing, like my one leg was out, my whole weight was on there. I'm gonna go take a quick lunch break and then I'm gonna finish the rest. We got a sleeve print and a back print, so we got a lot to do. Alright y'all, I had a quick bite to eat. I got the flash dryer and conveyor dryer heating up, and I'm gonna go ahead and start printing the back of the design. The back is just gonna be a print right here. It's gonna be like a North Face style print where they just put it right here, and then the American flag on the right sleeve. So let's do it. Oh wait, if you haven't already, go ahead and follow my shop on Instagram, Aesthetic Imprints. I post on there daily. I post stories and just post on there. You'll see stuff there before you do on YouTube, so make sure you go there. And that's all for these hoodies. These hoodies got me gassed, especially that white ink. That thing is thick. That thing took all the power out of my hands, out of my body. But we got it done. 3 location print, front print, side print, and the back print. Let's take a closer look at these. And there it is, everybody. As you can see, these hoodies turned out fire with the American flag right here, and then the North Face style print right here turned out sleek. And then this big, this is for like a gym, chiseled life. Shout out to them for always trusting me. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please give this video a big thumbs up. This video just took you along the process of me fulfilling this custom apparel order for screen printing on Camo Hoodies. Now this is just the process I use. In this case, I had that poly white ink on hand, so I went ahead and used that. But man, that thing is thick. That was like a whole workout, but we got it done. I'm glad we're done now. It feels a lot better to be done. My screen printers out there know that wrist pain on a manual press. If you want to stay up to date with me, go ahead and follow my shop on Instagram at Aesthetic Imprints. I post on there daily of my projects, what I'm printing. What doesn't make it to YouTube is obviously going to make it there. And if you want to support me, go ahead and follow my new clothing brand that I'm taking you guys along with me and building along this journey. Go ahead and show me some love on there. I'd really appreciate it. Anyways, always remember, no grind, no glory. And shout out to my mom. She helped me fold and stack these hoodies. Shout out to her. No grind, no glory. And I'll see you all in the next one. Oh my God, this ink is, oh. When I tell y'all this ink is thick, I mean it.